Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dan O, and I wanted to make a video that I've been wanting to make for a while now. I attempted to make this a couple years ago, but I never uploaded it. So I'm here today to make this video. Now, first of all, before I say anything, before I dive into this book, I want to say that I'm not saying that Native Americans are African. Not saying that at all. I'm not one of those Afrocentric people who think that everybody is African. Even though I say that, these people are Native American Indians, and they were a race of black people. And what I mean by that is not that they were African, but they were just another race of black people before they mixed with whites. And this book is good at explaining that. They are another race of black people, just like the Dravidians of India. They're black, but they're not African. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing with the people of Papua New Guinea. You know, the Micronesian, Melanesians. Same thing with the Australoid people. Even at one time, the Polynesians were another black race of people before they start mixing with the English. And even some of the Spanish and even some French and stuff like that. They were like, and if you look at old Hawaiian pictures, a lot of Hawaiians were around this complexion. They even had woolly hair. So they were another race of black people, not saying that they're African. And people have to understand that even Africa is very diverse. When you look at the people over in Africa, they were very diverse people. I mean, when it comes to phenotypes, they all don't have the same stereotypical African phenotype. They have a lot of different looks within Africa and within sub-Saharan Africa, so you can't even say that there's an African look, you know what I'm saying, because one part of Africa doesn't represent the whole of Africa like some people like to believe. But so anyways, when you look at this guy on the title of this book, and this book, by the way, it is it's a series of logs by Prince of Maximilian of Wade. He was a German prince in the 1800s. He was born in the 1700s, late 1700s, and he died in the mid 1800s, I believe. But he was a prince of Germany. He brought along a Swiss painter named Karl Bodmer. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong all the time. I'm just gonna call him Karl because I have a hard time pronouncing his name for some reason, even though it's very simple. Who was the one who painted these watercolors? He brought him along during his expedition. He hired over like 200 and some people to come on this expedition with him to North America. The reason why he wanted to come over here was because he wanted to get a legit experience of the Native Americans, because most of the stuff that he was getting back at Europe was whitewashed pictures of Native Americans. The Pocahontas picture is a good example of that whitewashing. I mean, when you look at a lot of the pictures of her when she went to England, she looked straight up like a white woman. I mean, it's just downright disgusting. And when you look at a lot of the Native American pictures, I'm talking about older Native American pictures, not modern day Native American pictures where they, do this, even though that's not correct. Native Americans today may look similar to it's funny because you don't see too many Native Americans today that look like this. Most of them look like what you would call mestizo. Most of them look like Mexicans. But this type of look, you'll most likely find this in places like Peru and places like that, to where they have more Native American ancestry. And one thing that people have to realize is that even though a Native American may call himself a full-blood Native American, it's the same thing with a black person, African American, saying that they're black because they have two parents who are African American. It's the same thing with Native Americans. When they have two parents who are Native Americans, they usually say that they're full Native American, even though DNA will show that they have some white admixture, because basically every Native American in the United States has white admixture. It's just how it is. It can be very small. Sometimes it can be more than other people. But even this isn't correct. It'll probably be more true to today, but back then when this is depicted, I'm sure this is probably being depicted in the 1700s, 1800s. These people did not look like this. They were much darker. And I'm not saying that Native Americans of today are not descendant of these people. They are. They are the descendants of these people. But as this book will explain, that they suffer changes by mixing with whites. And that's why Native Americans today don't look like this. I mean, this guy is damn near, like, we are similar in skin tone. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm African American. I mean, I have Native American ancestry too, but I'm black. I'm African American. I'm not one of those blacks who are in denial about being who they are. So anyways, I wanted to show this book because sorry, I have a cold. I wanted to show this book because there's this Native American guy. I was going around on YouTube, and he you know, I was looking at like ancestry tests and stuff like that, and I never seen it. You know, it's funny because I never seen a Native American take an ancestry test, and I thought that'd be very unique. I didn't see his results. I don't think he put his up, but he did one on his uncle, and he was talking about how his uncle has white ancestry. And I think I put in the comment that basically all Native Americans have white ancestry, but they keep it suppressed. You know, because some of the Native Americans I talk to, they don't want anything to do with having a white heritage at all. But anyways, so look at this guy's skin texture, and I'm gonna put emphasis on that so much because, you know, they don't. You think of, when you think of Native Americans, you think of this. You know what I'm saying? Or today Native Americans, you don't think about this, but these guys were actually black, and it's not tan. You know, I seen a lot of those videos where, you know, where they try to debunk Afrocentrics, the ones who put up the video saying that Native Americans are black. Those Afrocentrics are part right. The Native Americans were black, but they weren't African. They were their own race of people. And this right here just really makes you think about the Asian theory of them crossing the Bering Straits. Like, how did they come from Asia? And I mean, because when you look at these older pictures of the Native Americans, they look nothing like Asians. You know how sometimes today you will see some Native Americans who have that Asian eye look, like they have the what they call a single eyelid. You don't see that in this book. In a lot of other Carl Bartram's books, you don't see that. You still see the facial structures that Native Americans have today, but you don't have that chinky eye look. So it makes you wonder, is history as true as they're telling us? Because we find out every day that, you know, more and more things are lies. You know, just like they don't teach that whites were slaves. Why don't they teach that in school? You know what I'm saying? Why don't they also teach that Native Americans were another race of black people? So anyways, we're going to go through this book. And forgive me because my reading is terrible right now because I don't have my glasses. And so this right here goes through his logs. It talks about basically everything they did. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, in 1832, Maximilian Prince of Wade set out with his Swiss painter Carl Bartram on an expedition to study the way of life of the North American Indians, starting at the East Coast, followed by the course of the Ohio, Mississippi, and Missouri rivers until they reached the far northern regions of the present-day Montana. While the prince collected ritual implements, noted his observations, and transcribed the intensive conversations he conducted with the Indians, Carl Bartram created fascinating watercolors. So it goes down and it talks about how he, you know, by the way, I'm gonna put all this online. I'm gonna try to put as much online as possible, but it explains how he went on, you know, expeditions and how he hired like 200 some men. He wanted to write down all of the rituals of the warriors and the chiefs, the chieftains, and, you know, the way of life of the people. He wanted a legitimate experience, and this is why they call Native Americans red. They call them red because they painted themselves red. They weren't actually red. Even Native Americans to this day aren't red. Like modern day Native Americans aren't red in skin tone. That's why they call them red, because they used to paint themselves. Had nothing to do with the skin tone. So anyways, we're going to go through the book. And there's a better picture of this guy later on. But when you see this guy, I mean, look at his skin tone. He's a dark-skinned person. Look at his face. He has black paint on his face, so that's why his face looks a little bit darker than everywhere else. But look at his arms. Like I said, there's a better picture of this guy later on. But this guy is around my skin tone. Look at these guys. And sorry about the lighting. Like, it's not the best lighting, so you can't really see it perfectly. But look at these guys' skin tones. Look at their skin tone. And that guy has red paint on his face. They don't look mongoloid to me at all. Don't look mongoloid at all. I really want to get a good look at this guy, because look at his arms. I mean, because his face has paint on it. Let me bring it around to, you can see this guy's. Sorry. Look at that. You don't see Native Americans this dark today. Sorry about the whole camera situation. I have to get me a better camera. But yeah, look at this guy. It's pretty dark. And I will say, outside of this, very good depiction of Native Americans in Mexico is the one that artist did. I can't remember his name. He was a Mexican artist where he drew the Native Americans what they actually look like. You know, dark skin. And you even saw some lighter skin ones there too, but those are ones who most likely had like a white father or grandparent or something like that. But look at this guy. He's darker than I am. And like I said, I'm gonna upload all these pictures. So if you're like, I'm not sure about their skin tone, well, I'm gonna scan these to the computer and upload all of them, so you can see all these pictures. Okay, so they do have some reading right down here that is highlighted that, but I'm only gonna read a few of them. Because some of these go into, and I'm gonna upload these to the highlighted areas because they're very interesting. And they basically talk about like what he set out to do in the wars that were going on at the time, and how basically how they were being wiped out through disease and wars and stuff like that. But there is one that I want to read to you guys, if I can find it. And it talks about his journeys too. It talks about the some of the situations the Americans were left in. Okay, so here's a little passage right here I want to show you guys, if I can. You're not going to see it, I'm just going to read it to you. If I can get this book right. So it says, in another passage, however, the prince complains that the Indians' facial expressions, complexions, and hair color had suffered as a result of crossing with whites. If I can, I'm going to try to... No, I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to upload all this. I'm going to read it again. In another passage, however, the prince complains that the Indians' facial expressions, complexions, and hair color has suffered as a result of crossing with whites. So, yeah, even back then, they were starting to, you know, they were suffering change due to mixing with whites. I'm going to continue reading. Sorry about the coughing. Whereby his yardstick is evidently the authentic Indian with those characteristics that distinguish them from everyone else. In other words, the American Indian in his pristine state. So he's referring to, you know, to the non-mixed Native Americans when he's talking about that. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys some more photos. And a lot of you guys may not be shocked. A lot of you guys may know that Native Americans they didn't always look the way they do today. But a lot of Native Americans like to deny their white heritage, though. I think that's just bad when you lie to yourself like that. But yeah, so here's another guy. He has red paint on his face, but you can see his skin, how dark it is. Same thing with this guy. And they have the different tribes down here, so if you belong to one of these tribes, I'm sure a lot of these tribes don't exist to this day, but if you belong to those, these are your ancestors. So I'm gonna go through them and read the tribes that these people are from. And these, I believe these guys, I'm not sure if they're Iroquois or Plains Indian. I'm guessing they're probably Plains Indian. A lot of these Native Americans were shot, well, their pictures were taken, well, painted out in the Montana area, so a lot of these may be Plain Indians. But okay, that guy, then this guy right here, he's about the same skin tone as a what you would call African American person. You know, it's funny because I know a guy, an African American, who does have a lot of Native American ancestry, who looks just like this guy. Here's a close-up, so you know, and like I said, I'm gonna upload all these pictures, so if you're not sure on the skin tone, because the color of my camera is a little bit off, it kind of makes them look a little bit lighter than what they actually are, because I'm looking at the screen right now. But these guys, yeah, they're black-skinned people. I mean, I don't even like using that word really, because there's really no black-skinned people, but they're dark brown. They're the same complexion as many African Americans and Africans. So, but I'm not saying that they're black. I mean, I'm not saying that they're African. Yeah, look at these guys. Let me try to move the camera around a little bit, if I can. Get a better look at these guys. Sorry, I'm over here knocking down the camera. So look at this. Look at these guys. It's not tan. Definitely not a tan. And these are Native Americans. This is what they used to look like. Why don't they teach this in school? I mean, I want to know, why don't they teach this stuff in school? I mean, because the depictions that we always see, I mean, white history is so whitewashed, and it's just really sad that we live in a world where history is not what we think it is. I mean, we really do. We live in a world where history is diluted, and it's so evident. I mean, look at Egypt. How they even have depictions of Egyptians being black-skinned people on the walls, yet we see in movies that this is just a closer up of the Native American that we saw on the other page. Look at his skin tone. And like I said, I'm going to put emphasis on that a lot, because a lot of people don't know that Native Americans looked this way. And yeah, they still look like modern day Native Americans to me, facial structure wise. You know, bone structure and everything like that, but just skin color is what really changed a lot. Yeah, and it has a bunch of pictures right here. Here's some people who look like they are, you know, lighter skinned Native Americans. And don't get me wrong, this book it didn't just go around just painting black Native Americans. They have lighter skinned Native Americans in here too. See, like some of these people are lighter than other ones. Like the little kid right there, he's lighter than a lot of the people in here. You probably really can't tell from that picture. But here's some other. I think I already showed you this picture, but anyways, I probably did. So yeah, this guy is from the Nope, and it's Sasaboni Indian. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. This guy is, let me get this camera right. This guy is from, I'm trying not to destroy this book in the process of showing you guys. See, that's the tribe that he's from. Yeah, but look at these people. You'll still find dark-skinned Native Americans today. I mean, like, I'm talking about black-skinned Native Americans today, but you won't. It's probably very rare to find them in the United States. But You will most likely find them in places like Bolivia, Peru, places like that, where a lot of them have more. They have stronger Native American phenotypes. You know, original Native American phenotypes. You'll find them, but they're rare. They're very rare. And this guy, he has red paint on his body. That's why they call them red Indians. He have red and yellow paint. And this book, like just reading it is very interesting. I mean, just this guy's journey is just seeing what all happened to the Native Americans, stuff like that. But I'm gonna upload, like I said, I'm gonna upload all of these. So if you want to see it yourself, I'm gonna upload all of these. And these are lighter skinned Native Americans, as you can see. It's funny because I'm looking at the camera right now. They're much lighter than. But I'm sure it's because of the glare and stuff. But they're much lighter than they are actually on the paintings. But I will try to have. Yeah. So this is a guy that's on the cover of the book, and I don't know how to pronounce that. I guess that's what he belongs to. The tribe that he belongs to. Try to slide this over here so you guys can get a better look at this man. You know, you can even still find, there's this one color picture, like actual photo taken of a Native American man in the 1800s, and it's a colored photo. And it's funny because I saw it in one of those videos where they said that the man wasn't dark. You know, one of those videos where they try to debunk the Afrocentrics or whatever. And I found the color photo of that guy. That guy was dark. He was as black as these guys. It's weird. I mean, it's just so weird to know that these guys, and what I mean by that, Native Americans didn't always look the way they do today. I mean, it's really mind-blowing, really. You know, there's even records of Native Americans, especially in Mexico, where, you know, some of them didn't want to have anything to do with the black slaves simply because they didn't want to be locked away with black slaves because they were black too. They were ashamed of their skin color. And this woman has, not him, that's a guy I assume, but this woman right here, she looks a little bit lighter. But this is a woman of the Cree tribe. I believe that tribe still exists to this day. Oh no, that is a woman, sorry. This is a woman too. She's of the Snake tribe. How black she is. But it's a lot of stuff, even land formation pictures and stuff. It's a very, very good book, and this book has a lot of damage to it because we had this book for like 15 years. And I'm gonna upload all these pictures. I'm gonna upload all of them. Like I said, they look so much lighter on screen because I'm looking at the screen. But yeah, it's a good book. It's a real good book. Like I said, I wanted to upload this for this guy so he can see. Maybe he may see his ancestor on here. Who knows? Look at these people. This person is like cut off. That kind of sucks. Can't really see him all like that. Some people may try to say that, oh, these people are probably mixed with African. Some people just make up so many excuses. It's pathetic, really. But yeah, that's basically it in this book, I think, when it comes to the very compelling pictures. And this is some tribe. I don't know what tribe they are. But it'd be nice if this, you know, if this would cause Native Americans to be more open about their past, because the Native Americans that I talked to who actually lived on the reservation at one point in time, they say that, you know, that they keep this stuff on the hush. They don't really like to talk about this type of stuff. But I mean, I really think that people should just be honest with themselves and their people, because I'm sure there's a lot of Native Americans out there who would like to know this type of stuff. I mean, I think that's fascinating. If I was a Native American person, I'd be like, oh my God, wow, we actually used to look like this? Like, that's crazy. Just to know that type of history and stuff. I think stuff like this is fascinating. But like I said, I'm going to upload all these photos for you guys so that y'all can see. And this one, this person's a Mexicanistan. I don't know what the tribe is. This person right here. Look at the little antler piles of bones. Stuff is crazy. And this person, I think this chief is like blind in one eye. I'm not even gonna joke. Just from this picture, these guys are like an African tribe. I'm not even joking. Oh man, here's interactions between Native Americans and white settlers. But yeah, I'm gonna upload all these pictures for you guys so you can see for yourselves. Yeah, it's a good book, and there's a bunch of other good books out there too. Yeah, so this right here is bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Most of the Native Americans back during the 1800s and back, they were black before they start mixing with whites and starting to look like this and even lighter. You know, looking like Mexicans and stuff like that. Mexican themselves are, they have a lot of Native American ancestry, and they probably have just as much as most of the Native Americans in Native American reservations. They probably even have more Native American ancestry based on their looks, because some of the Native Americans on the reservations that I have seen are like super light. I mean, it's crazy. But this video wasn't made to cause a war or anything like that, you know, out of hatred or anything. It's just really out of fascination, and just me wondering why they don't teach this stuff at school. I know it has everything to do with racism, superiority and stuff like that, because they try to make it, and they really instill in a lot of people, even non-blacks, that being of a darker skin complexion, being black, is inferior, when it's actually not. Most of the people of the world, most of the indigenous aboriginal people of the world were originally black. The same thing that happened to the Native Americans and the Hawaiians and a lot of Polynesian people, they tried to do to the Australians by changing their phenotypes and the way they look. They actually tried to breed them out. And at one point they tried to do that with Native Americans. They tried to integrate them into schools, you know, white schools, and try to have them breed with whites, so that they can lose their identity and stuff like that. And they even did that with Hawaiians, and they did that with a lot of other Polynesian island Pacific Islanders also. So yeah, it's real, and that's, I mean, I believe that's why they don't teach this stuff in school, because of, you know, white superiority and all that other crap. And they don't like to be honest. I mean, they really don't. A lot of people in these positions of power, they don't like to teach the truth. And this book is very, very interesting. And you know, some people may try to use this book and saying that, oh, see, they were African, but when you look at these people, they do not look African. The only thing that looks African, I mean, you will there were Native Americans with thicker thicker lips and stuff like that. But they may try to go off these people's dark skin. But people have to realize that black skin does not belong solely to Africans. I just don't get that at all. When you look at some of the indigenous Asians, I'm talking about Asians like who live in tribal Asians and stuff like that. Even in China, they have tribes in actually it's like in the western part of China, where these people are Asian, but they have froze and they're dark skin. I mean, they're like as black as this guy, and they're 100% Asian. They have no African admixture at all. So people originally started out, most people originally started out black, and then through the Roman expansion, and different little campaigns between Asia and stuff like that, a lot of whites mix with Asians, because when you look at places like Kazakhstan, places like that, you will see that fine line where Asia met the West, you know what I'm saying, where the East met the West, because you will see a lot of people who look white and Asian. And like Genghis Khan, for example, he was Attila the Hun. Sorry, I said Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was straight up Asian. Attila the Hun, he was part Asian, part white. And even Rome had traveled to Asia, but they weren't the only people who traveled to Asia, because in modern day Germans, they found that a lot of modern day Germans have a lot of Asian ancestry. Even the same thing with Russians and a lot of people of why can't I think of the name? A lot of people of Slavic descent has Asian ancestry in them somewhere along the line. So that's why a lot of Asians are light skinned to this day, and that's why they say that Asians and whites share that same Neanderthal DNA, because they mixed, and a lot of Asians were transformed and got lighter because of that. And that's the same thing with Native Americans. But Asians today are more homogenous just because they have they've been established for a long time. But anyways, that's all I have to say. And like I said earlier, there are theories. There's a bunch of new research showing that Native Americans may be a mixture of different people, because there has been a lot of discoveries showing that people from Africa have made it here. Now, I'm not talking about the freaking stoneheads in Mesoamerica. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about some stuff that they found in South America. And also, it makes sense too, because there's a current that actually comes off the west coast of Africa that will bring you straight to Brazil. That's how a lot of the white sailors came here. And when you look at Christopher Columbus logs, he actually talks about meeting African people. He actually describes what the people like in a lot of places he went to. He said that they were dark skinned. Some of them even had coarse hair, nappy hair. And he even said how he used the African to navigate him over there, because one of his African navigators had family who had already lived over in these places, which is people don't pick up on and schools don't like to touch on. So they already showed that there was African connection with the Americas. Also, Polynesia. There's a lot of evidence that Polynesians had made it here. Through the Pacific route. Also, there has been Scandinavian runes found in the Americas that predate, the Columbian era. With Christopher Columbus and the Portuguese and Spanish arriving here, so that's very mysterious. There's even findings of Hebrew and Middle Eastern and Arab artifacts here in the United States, also in parts of Central and South America. So it makes you wonder, is the New World as new as people say it is? Because I came to a firm decision that the New World is not as new as we say it is. I think that we had a memory wipe like how we do now. Because if you notice, Europe went through a dark age, and I believe that was a time where Europe reset. And then during the Renaissance, that's when it came back to life. I mean, because Renaissance basically means the rebirth. So I believe that's when they discovered, because during the Renaissance age, that's when they start selling out to the Americas and stuff like that. So you have to really think about things like this. I don't think, I mean, because it's funny, because even in the Bible, it mentions a new world. And a lot of people believe that it's talking about the Americas, because King David knew about the New World. The king of Assyria knew about the New World, the land where no man dwelt, and stuff like that. Even in other books that were part of the Bible mentions new worlds and stuff like that. And it's just very interesting, because I really think that we're waking up out of a slumber with all these discoveries and stuff like that, and that the world is not exactly what we thought it was, and that makes history way more unique. And what people have to understand is, when people like me bring stuff like this up, we're not trying to take away from Native Americans at all. I'm not trying to take nothing away from Native Americans. I don't have any beef with Native Americans at all. I want them to fully recognize who they were, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure they know more about their people than I do, their customs and stuff like that. But I'm not sure if a lot of them knew that they were actually a race of black people before they start mixing with whites. And I mean, just the whole thing is just very, very interesting to me. And I'm a history person. I like to do research. I like to, you know, find out new things and stuff like that. So this is very interesting to me. And like I said, I will upload some of the photos and stuff like this from the book. Very, very interesting stuff. But yeah, so that's basically all I have to say. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he will most likely see this video, because I told him that I would let him know when I upload something. So the photos that I'm going to upload, they're going to come much later, of course, because I don't know if I'm going to have the time to do it anytime soon. But I will try to get as many photos up as soon as possible. So I will see you guys later. You guys take care. Peace.